Well, for the past 2 hours or so, there's been a steady flow of people in and out of the square. Every so often we see people running towards one of the exits, which seems to suggest that there are still some of those clashes or scuffles happening in some of the side roads around Tahrir with the police. So still a very tense atmosphere, and as you were saying there, people shouting slogans against the military and against the field marshal himself, who they want to step down. Now, Issam Sharaf, the interim prime minister, is in a crisis meeting with some of his cabinet ministers, but before that he was actually in a meeting with the spokesperson of the Supreme Council of the Armed Forces, and he came out and spoke after that meeting with Issam Sharaf, and he once again reiterated that the elections will not be postponed, and he actually said that there's complete coordination between the Interior Ministry, the security forces, and the armed forces in securing the polls. Don't forget that there's a lot of anger right now directed against the police because of the brutality that they've shown over the past 24 hours against protesters, and these are the same police that are meant to be securing the polling stations in just over a week's time.
Sherine, would it be fair enough to say that the demonstrators in Tahrir Square at the moment are trying to prevent elections?
I don't think that that is their main demand. What they're saying is that this revolution isn't over yet. We can't really talk about elections and a transition process when we're in the midst of an uprising. So what they're really trying to get from the military council is some kind of date for presidential elections. They don't really see that these parliamentary elections will change anything. They're not for or against them. They just simply feel like this isn't the time for them, because at the end of the day, military rule will still persist until presidential elections are set. So that's really their concentration now, an end to military rule, not simply a reorganization of the structure of the government.
And Sherine, I've been looking on Twitter at what the various activists in Tahrir Square are saying to each other, and there does seem to be an emerging kind of humanitarian situation, just as there did back in January and February. They're saying that they have a field hospital down there and the injured just keep coming in.
That's right. There were various clinics that were set up actually very late last night when the intense clashes were happening. And there are calls by various activists on the ground because they are running out of supplies. They're also running out of blankets and tents because they really are trying to get more and more people to join in these protests. A lot of the people who have been here for the past 2 days are getting tired, they're injured, they want to go home. But they know the protesters, at the end of the day, safety in numbers. And as long as there are a lot of people inside of Tahrir Square, there's less chance that the military or the police will come in to clear them.
Sherine, thanks very much for the time being.